What's going on, everyone? This is Tony with RcHelpDotCom. In today's video, we're going to go ahead and get the motor mounted, we're going to get the ESC mounted, and we're going to put the gyro back here. Again, just a recap, we did tear this thing completely apart because I am not going to make you guys sit through over 10 hours of video. I think it's actually over 11 hours. If you add it all up, it's ridiculous. I'm not going to make you guys sit through that just to see how we installed all the electronics and everything. So we're going to redo the entire series from the time where we installed the servos, and that is exactly what we did in the last video. Again, in this video, motor, ESC, and gyro. Now, speaking of the gyro, Syndicate did send this when he donated this helicopter. He sent the Ikon2. It's just a standard Ikon2, but I do already have it mounted to the aluminum piece that bolts back here, so there's really no reason to take this off. All you do is just stick it on. As you can see, I didn't exactly get it centered. It's a little further this way. Then yeah, so OCD is kind of going crazy on that one, but it is what it is. And once again, we will be doing a dedicated video on shortening these long servo wires and making them all nice and pretty to where they just fit right up in here. Get out of the way, head, in here. All right, so on this helicopter here, this one is going to be our elevator. This is going to be number 1. This one is going to be our aileron. This is going to be number 2, and this one is going to be number 3, which is our pitch. So we're going to go ahead and start with this wire right here, which is the elevator servo. That's going to be plugged in to servo number 1. Go ahead and plug that in. Again, this one is going to be your aileron. Go ahead and move that up for you guys. This one's going to be aileron. That's going to be servo number 2. So we're going to go ahead and plug this into servo number 2. And then we have servo number 3. Go ahead and pop that into servo number 3. And then down here we do have the tail servo wire. And this one is just going to be fished up right through here. We will be doing wire management on this at a later date. Trust me, we're going to have to. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That one is plugged in to number 4. So now we can take our 2mm driver and take these bolts out. I just had these bolts sitting in there. Scorpion. See if we can't get those wires underneath the servo there. This is not going to be a wire management video of any kind. Normally I would put thread lock on these bolts because they are metal bolts going into a metal plate, but we know we're going to be taking this back out, so I'm not putting thread lock on it. Alright, go ahead and take these wires and we're just going to sit them right there. Oh my god, that is so ugly. Alright, so we need to take off this motor mount right here. You guys can barely see. And for this, we are going to use the 7mm box end to loosen that nut right there. Got that one loose. So now we're going to take our 2mm and take out these other 3 bolts, and that'll remove the motor mount. So go ahead and set the frame off to the side. For this, we are using the AlZRC motor. It is made for the Goblin. I did put the screws in there so that I wouldn't lose them. I have already cleaned these screws with alcohol, so they're ready for thread lock. Alright, so I got all the screws removed out of the motor. As you can see, we have the motor mount plate here, and whenever we put this in, I had these motor wires running on this side of the frame. And that's exactly how we're going to put it back because, well, it's clean. But you need to put the motor on the motor mount plate because this will not go through there. Yeah, I just made that mistake. So what we're going to do, grab our 2mm Allen driver, grab one of our motor screws. I've already got a little bubble sitting right there of thread lock. So I'm just going to dab it in there. And as you can see, it did put enough on there. Take your finger, run it around. Take the motor, remember it's going to go in just like that. Take the motor, set it on there. We'll try to find the screw holes. As you can see right there, we got one hole visible. So I want to go ahead and just slide this bolt into that one hole, but I'm not going to torque it down yet. Grab another screw. Again, there's a bubble right there. Put just a little bit of thread lock, spin it around on the finger. Now as we can see, we got a hole there, there, and there. I'm just going to go across. Again, not torquing these down yet. Did have to give that one just a little bit of a squeeze. Alright, got thread lock. Put this screw in. And our final one. Put it on the Allen driver. Go ahead and put that one in. And now, moderate torque. You don't need to go all crazy. This thing ain't going to go nowhere if you got thread lock on it. Alright, now that that's on, we can go ahead and take our motor pinion. This is the 21 tooth pinion. It's the one that came with it in the kit. And on this, only the back half needs thread lock. Just like that right there. We are going to run it on our finger to get rid of any excess. Go ahead and put it on here. Now you need to find the flat on your motor. As you can see, I've already got a grub screw mark right there because, well, we've done this before. Alright, now that that's on, we can go ahead and get our thread lock, set it over here, and now we can flip this over and go ahead and get it mounted in the frame. Getting that washer to go up over that can sometimes be a little bit of fun. Go ahead and let that set there. Bring our thread lock back. I didn't want to knock it over. That's why I moved the thread lock. Still got our 2mm Allen driver. Just a little bit of thread lock. I'm going to put this side in first just because easier. But before I do that, I am going to put the wires on the outside of the frame. Why didn't you guys tell me they were tucked inside? Again, we are not snugging these up. We've still got to adjust the belt. Alright, now that that side's in, go ahead and turn it around. A little bit of thread lock. Run it around with our fingers. Do have to kind of pull up on this just a hair to get the hole to line up. Once again, just going until it touches. Last bolt. A little more thread lock. Locate the hole. Go ahead and put her in. And now we can take our belt, and all I'm doing is reaching in here, grabbing it, putting it around the pinion. Well, it's kind of hard to show this on video, but just put it around the pinion. Make sure it's seated down in there real good. And then just spin it around the main gear. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take one finger, put it in here, and put it on the motor pinion. The other finger is going to go here, and then my hand is going to be pulling against the frame right there. What I'm going to do, put my 7mm driver onto that nut. I'm going to pull this back, pretty good force, and then we're going to tighten that down. That is a nylon lock nut. You do not want to use thread lock on it. Now, we want to check our belt tightness. And it is not tight at all, so I suspect I may have one of these just a little too tight. Alright, let's go ahead and back this off. Now that I'm putting some tension on it, we'll go ahead and tighten this back down. Once again, check our tension, and now it has pretty good tension on it. So what I want to do is run this around, and what we're looking at is where the belt's riding. As you can see, it's riding just a little high. So what we need to do is go down in here, find our grub screw, and we actually need to lower this down. I thought I knew where it needed to go. Apparently I did not. Now this thread lock has not had time to cure yet, so we can make these adjustments and feel safe that it will actually cure. So now let's go ahead and spin it again. As you can see, there is some main gear on the top and main gear on the bottom. There is just a little bit more on the bottom than there is on the top, but gravity, yeah, we can make all kinds of excuses. I'm gonna call that good. All right, don't forget, always put your cap back on your thread lock. That stuff is wicked expensive for what it is. All right, now need a little bit of double-sided tape. We're gonna need some scissors, and we're gonna need our ESC. Now, as you can see, I've already formed all these wires, so it's kind of like cheating, but that right there is exactly how I have it formed, in case anybody is curious. And what we're gonna do, get all this stuff out of the way, we're gonna clean the back of this off with alcohol. The tape is just to keep it from sliding, because it's only going to contact these 3 ribs. That's all the contact that it's gonna get. All right. Got a paper towel here. This is a Viva paper towel, in case anybody's wondering. Take some alcohol, not the good kind. As you can see, wipe it on, it dries. Alcohol is awesome. I am going to flip to a dry part of the towel though, just help it along. Grab the helicopter and do the exact same thing on those ribs. I just want to make sure that that double-sided tape actually has something to stick to, and that the ESC doesn't want to try to slide out. Before we put that ESC in there though, we need to get some zip ties, because we are going to secure this with zip ties. And you may need to take and put kind of a little kink in there to get it into these holes. Sometimes it's easy, most of the time it is not. This time it is actually behaving for this one. Alright, go ahead and tuck this through here, just like that. Alright, do this one more time. Again, all I'm doing, putting just a little kink right there at the tip. Feed it in there. Then I'm putting my thumb over it to guide it into this next hole. And I've also got my finger kind of pushing up right here. That just helps guide it in. Alright, got it going through there. Then I'm going to take my finger, put it here, and help guide that zip tie to where it doesn't try to go outside the frame. Get about the same amount. Fold this, bring it inside the frame. Grab our ESC. Do not touch it because you just cleaned it. Grab our scissors. Go ahead and snip us off one little bit. Throw it on here. This is awesome double-sided tape. I got to give Gina, moderator on RcHelpDotCom, I got to give her a huge thank you for turning me onto this stuff. It is wicked cheap. You can buy it at Lowe's. I'm sure you can get it at Home Depot too. And it works. It takes a little bit for it to set up and to really hold stuff together like a gyro. But once it does, you ain't moving it. Alright, now get it down in here. If I can get it to where you guys can see it. Make sure I don't get those zip ties stuck in there. What I'm doing here is I'm looking at the ribs that you can't hardly see down in there. And I'm trying to line this ESC up to where it's going to contact all 3 of them. And also to try to get it somewhat in the center. Alright, I like that. So we'll go ahead, just kind of press it down. Doesn't really matter. And then from here, we can just do up our zip ties. I do have the battery wires on the inside. That is fine. I did not get that centered. That will bug me. So we can pull it back up and we can get this thing centered. Alright, looks good. Grab our other zip tie. Kind of spin it around just a hair. Make sure it's that German torque U unit, good and tight. There we go. That ESC is not going to go anywhere. I would like this front one to be just a hair tighter though. Alright, there we go. Grab our flush cutting side cutters, or actually these are more like ring pliers. Go ahead and cut that off. Go ahead and cut that off. Cut that off. Fool. And now we can kind of feed our motor leads out through the side. And you guys can do this however you want. Mine, yeah. Everything's got to be neat and pretty, man. Well, that last one just does not want to go through there. There she goes. You just assumed that wire's gender. Yes, I did. Alright, and as you can see, red, black, yellow. I am not worried about which way these are because I can reverse them in the ESC. Again, we making it pretty. Alright, got all the wires plugged in. Oh, that looks pretty. Oh, that is looking pretty. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take another zip tie. This one is going to be a little bit wider than the one we just used. I think I can use this. Oh yeah. For some reason that zip tie is dirty. I do not want to use a dirty zip tie. We got to use a clean zip tie. Go ahead and get that in there. Pop it back out there. You don't have to go crazy tight on that. That's just keeping it secure to the side of the frame. So I'll go ahead, snip that off. That's kind of big, isn't it? I may have to change that. Again, wire management, different video. We are going to tuck this up through here. Come back here. It's going to go up beside our tail servo. It's got just enough room right there to where you can bring a wire up. Do be careful of that single wire. That's going to be your RPM sensor. If we wanted to use the governor inside the Ikon, we could. I am going to plug this in, but I am not going to use this governor. I'm going to use the governor inside the Hobbywing ESC because it just works. All right, from here we just feed it up through the side, get those servo wires out of the way that we just put there. Pull this guy. You guys couldn't really see most of that. Sorry about that. Pull that guy up just like that. And I just realized that we can't really get to that. So we're going to have to remove the Ikon. Now I'm wondering how many of you guys were yelling at me. Hey, yeah, you still need to plug in your ESC, dude. So we'll just go ahead and pull that up. Again, I am plugging this in just to give it somewhere to go so it's not hanging loose, but we are not going to use it. Plug that into the governor. And then this one I'm going to take underneath. Again, the signal wire goes to the top, and that is going into channel 1. Alright, tuck them wires back down under there. Grab our Allen driver. Get that one started. Get this one in there. Once again, we are not putting thread lock on this because I am going to have to remove this again. Not torquing it down too tight either. And there we go. Now if you don't have the tools, or you just don't want to, you know, it doesn't really bother you, you could leave those like this. Just, you know, wrap you a zip tie around it or something, and you can leave them just like that. They're not in the way. They're not going to get hit. Well, that one might get hit, but you can zip tie these things up out of the way, and it's not going to affect anything. For me, my OCD is going to go nuts until I cut these wires. And what I mean by cutting those wires, I mean severely shortening them wires. Those were the old servos that we had on here. So, got the motor installed, got the ESC installed, got the gyro installed. We still have access to the port back here. I love that the plugs go underneath the servo. There's just like a perfect amount of room. It just works, man. I am absolutely loving this helicopter. And with that, that's going to conclude this video. Yeah. I can't wait to fly this thing. I've been saying that for quite a while. I do have to give Syndicate an apology for not having this thing in the air yet. I do apologize, brother. But I didn't know what I wanted to do with it, whether I wanted to tear it back down or, you know, what I wanted to do. So we ended up just tearing it back down. It's going to start all over again. We're going to do it right. We're now upgrading the servos to BK. So the only thing on here that I would consider a knockoff, if you want to call it that, is the AlZRC motor and tail servo. As long as they work, who really cares? You know, we've got the reliability that everybody knows and loves from the BK servo. The Ikon2, nothing really needs to be said about that. We are going to be running one satellite receiver on this. I may go ahead and put another one on there, and I haven't run the wires in here yet, obviously, but I do have the DSMX satellite sitting right here. Again, I may put two of them on there. The first one I put down here, and with a helicopter this size, I don't think we'll have a problem with it. I don't fly a long way from myself. We'll find out in a future video. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Questions, comments, suggestions, post them down in the comments section below. And as always, I want to thank every one of y'all for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.